Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is the Grind2Hard podcast. I'm your host, Chef Clay. Catch me doing my thing on IG. That's keeping it PC, keeping it .p.c. My job here in El Paso, Texas is a personal chef work. I'm blessed to go inside people's homes and cook for their families or just individuals. My passion is food and serving amazing plates. The Grind2Hard podcast aims to find your passion in life and ultimately add a little happiness to your journey. So in essence, the show is about entrepreneurship and motivation. So if that's something that you're looking for, you found the right channel. I believe we are all climbing a mountain of success and looking for our own personal greatness. We are with you here at Grind2Hard podcast. So just listen up. And if you have any questions, please hit us up on the IG page or Nevermore Records. This is episode number 62. And I'd like to make a big shout out to this amazing studio. If you'll notice the high definition in audio and visuals, it's due to the passionate work here at Nevermore Records. Paul Ward, the owner and producer of the podcast. If you'd like to start your own podcast, contact Paul at the number shown in the beginning of the podcast. Also, we are definitely looking for sponsors to help carry on the mission here at Grind2Hard. So reach out and inquire with us. So today's guest, I would like to introduce, his name is Jaime Rodriguez, A.K.A. Jimmy Dukes. You can find him, he's Jimmy Dukes Gaming on IG. He's a podcaster, JDG Podcast on YouTube. It's Jimmy Dukes Gaming Podcast on YouTube. He's a videographer. You'll catch him making vlogs and doing combat sports and integrating the two. He does content creation with games and not only like video games, but also like tech that comes out for computers and things like that. He's got a merch game that I'm jealous of. Man, this guy, if you hit up the YouTube page, you'll be able to buy shirts and different trinkets that he has for his JDG podcast. He's also married and has kids. We'll get into that because the man does a lot. He's very humble, and in his spare time, he also does jujitsu. So a shout out to Grind Underground Jiu-Jitsu Club, where he gets his gets that job done. So I'd like to thank you, man.
Hey,
appreciate
man.
you, Mr. Jimmy, for
what
coming
an
on the
epic
show.
Intro, dog.
Hey, thank you, man.
Holy
I had to do something. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, man, let me just. No, man, I appreciate you, man. No,
absolutely.
thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, man.
When
for
you
being
rattle
on.
all that stuff off, I'm like, damn, I do a lot of shit, huh?
Yeah, you do. Absolutely, man. That's tough. Like doing some research and figuring out like what I wanted to talk about. But like, yeah, there's some things that you do and you're really good at it, honestly. Like
Thank you,
making
man.
Reels. You have your logos on there. Everything's pretty much taken care of as far as like the colors and your audio, visuals and stuff like that, man. So I look up to you in those ways, man.
Thank you, man.
Seriously.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Jimmy, first of all, let me ask you: are you from EPTX 915?
Born in Panama. My dad was in the military.
Born in Panama. Wow.
Born in Panama, and we moved out here. My dad got stationed out in Fort Bliss.
Okay.
So I left Panama when I was like 4 years old. So I don't really remember anything. I haven't gone back then. But yeah, pretty much, home raised here.
So you're Panamanian.
Panamanian.
Oh, damn.
American.
Okay.
I got dual citizenship, so I can go over there and shit.
All right. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just grew up in the Northeast, man.
Okay.
915, always repping, what I mean?
I guess so, since 4 years old, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
So technically, I always tell people, yeah, I'm from here, but, raised here, you know what I mean?
Okay.
El Paso built me to where I was and how I am in the Northeast.
Okay. Do people think that you're like actually like Mexican, like from here and stuff like that?
Oh, man, I get like, oh, you're Hispanic?
You're Hispanic?
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I look like a white dude in the way I talk and shit.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people like, when I speak Spanish, have like a little accent.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're not Mexican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always like, oh, I'm from Panama.
just because I don't know, but Panama has its own language, or what do they speak in
Panama's Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah, it's like Central America.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
so
all right.
it's just all Spanish. It just, obviously, when you get little accents and, terminologies and stuff like that, just like that.
Okay, like a jargon, like different, like tongue a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, since you've been here since you're 4 years old, obviously you got your education here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What part of town?
Northeast, man.
Oh, represent.
Went all the way through Parkland.
Okay. Damn, that's what's up.
Elementary, middle, and high school for sure, man.
Damn. So, being in the Northeast, was it tough? Did you like your education?
I mean, at that time, I look back at it. It could be better, but at the same time, I wasn't the best student. You know what I mean? It's not
who
like,
was? I mean,
right?
I wasn't the greatest student.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm an A student, but I was, one thing that helped me is I was always playing sports. So So it always gave me something to look forward to. So my parents always had that kind of like to hang that over me. Like, hey, if you don't fucking do what you're supposed to do, you're not gonna play hockey this week.
So you at least made C's then. Season B's.
C's equals degrees.
Yeah. Well, I wish you'd have told me that back then, dude. I was always like, the coach is always like, hey, this guy's good. Wait, he doesn't have good grades. Okay, get them back. Get in the back. You're third string. Oh, fuck. Damn.
You're still on the team.
You're still on the team.
Get your grades together.
We love you. Get your shit together. Exactly, man. So going through high school, man, like your high school life, and did you have like goals? Like, you come in that junior, senior year. Did you have something you were looking forward to?
I mean, at that time for me, I grew up playing sports, so I was always doing like sports stuff, and I was always kind of like messing with technology. Computers. Computers and stuff, because I grew up playing inline hockey. So when I got to a certain age, I would see people with cameras recording, so I would like want to start recording myself playing sports. So like that got me into the whole computer stuff. So in high school, I was taking like little like hardware classes to learn about computers and stuff, because I thought that's what I wanted to do. But when I got out of high school, that's not what I was doing.
No,
I mean, I was just going to school to go to school, but I had no like goal. I had nothing in mind that I wanted to do. I just knew that I had to go to school because I felt like.
So how did your family play into that? Like, did they push you in a certain way, or did they just encourage you whatever you wanted?
Yeah, rest her soul, my mom was always like, you need to go to school. You need to go to school. So that was one thing I always did for her, but I just did it for her, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, because I was going when I got out of high school, I went to Park and got out. I went to UTEP, and that was just like, oh shit, I'm in an auditorium with like 200 kids.
That's dope, man.
Everybody's taking notes. I don't know what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? I just
and you were on your own too, right?
Yes, I'm here because like this is the right thing to do, but I didn't have like
goals per se,
goals or a purpose. I was doing it because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was my next step in life. Yeah, nice.
And I felt like through that I learned that I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to do that, but I still didn't know what the hell I wanted to do.
What were like some of your hobbies at the time besides inline skating?
Yeah, I was just like working out, hanging out. Obviously, early 20s, I'm just partying.
So,
I mean, just like
UTEP scene, like
going to Juarez,
nice.
You know what I mean, and going to the tailgates, and my priority was hanging out and doing all that.
As all of us, man. Seriously.
Yeah, but it wasn't until like a little after like going through all that. That's when I was like, I honed in on the computer thing. I was like, all right, cool. I want to go to school for computer shit.
What age do you think that was?
I think like 23, 24.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when I saw a lot of my friends, they were partying, but still doing that.
Nice.
So my excuse was always like, well, what the hell?
That's actually a good age, because honestly, like out of high school, I went straight to culinary school. My uncle said, come to Phoenix, you can live with me and go to culinary school. I was like, that's my next step, just like you know what I mean? I actually got good grades though in culinary school, and then once I left, because I partied too much, so I had to come back to El Paso. And at that point, I was like 23, about that age, and I was like, dude, I want to work. I had 2 jobs, and I started like being a little bit more serious. So I know I kind of see your outlook on life at that point. Being that you were into computers, what were you honing in on? What were you trying to like?
At the time, I was like, I wanted to edit.
Edit?
Yeah, because I had friends that were doing music, so I would kind of mess with beats. I would use Acid.
Acid Pro, yeah.
Acid Pro, dog.
Yeah, dude. Well, I had a cousin that I lived with. He used to do that shit. Bro, I was enamored by that when he did that.
Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would just be messing with stuff. But I would just messing with it because I liked it, and then I would just start messing with video stuff because I would record. Shout out my boy James Tame. He would record me playing hockey, and I would grab the clips, and I would just learn how to edit. And I was like, okay, maybe I want to do this, and I realized, I don't want to do this.
Why?
Well, it just kind of like, I thought I wanted to do it, but it was cool that I got to do it. But now I don't know if I wanted to do it.
You got the experience of it. Okay, right.
I was kind of like, I wanted.
You actually wanted to make a living, like, oh, okay,
yeah. I was
damn.
like,
be an
maybe
editor.
I could be an editor. I was like, I don't know if I could just fucking sit there for hours. And that was just me at the time. I was like, all right, but I was always like messing with cameras and audio and doing all that stuff without even realizing it's leading to what the hell I'm doing now. But when I started going to school, taking it serious, I was like, all right, I need to get my shit together.
So at UTEP, you got a degree?
No, I left UTEP.
Oh, you left UTEP.
I went my first year. I took 8 classes, four for the semesters.
2 semesters.
Failed 4, dropped out of 2. You know what I mean?
Really?
It was terrible.
It's tough, man.
I wasn't prepared for that. And when I started going to community, I was taking like little classes for computer stuff, and slowly by being around those type of people and like kind of getting the guidance of where I could potentially go, that's when I was like more serious about school, because I was like, I'm already in my mid-20s, I need to get my stuff together.
I want to learn this. I actually want to learn this.
I wanted to make a living out of it, and that's when I started going in. I got like 3 degrees at community college. While I was going there, I was working for the school, and when I graduated from getting all those degrees, I started working at a school district. And I was like,
Nice.
oh damn, I'm like progressing, and I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I just started slowly just doing that. So I just IT was like my goal, and it helped me kind of keep going in a good direction for me.
Nice. So I don't even know what was your actual full-time job. Are you a teacher?
No, so during that time, I was just like you said, working multiple jobs. I used to work for the city for sports. I worked there for 7 years, and I was doing that while I was going to school. I worked for the community college as well, and then I worked when I got out. I started working at the homeless shelter downtown as an IT guy. So I had like 3 jobs at the time. And I was like pushing the IT thing because I felt like I just needed to get the experience.
And it's probably more lucrative than anything.
Yeah, just kind of like I had 3 part-time jobs. So I was working 60 hours a week. But at that time, you know, I would just like go.
Right.
But it kind of helped me settle in on like, okay, now I have the experience. Now I have the education. Now I could start applying for jobs that I want.
Okay. So like kind of like a fork in the road right here. So what came first, your family or the JGG podcast?
No, so like I was going to school and finished school before I even had a kid.
Okay.
You know,
Nice.
so it was me and my girl at the time, and then we were, you know, God bless my wife is the best, you know, straight up, because we were kind of like we were on the same page when it came to a lot of things. You know, we were
in your 20s, late 20s.
We met in our early 20s, and we didn't get married until 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? So that was one of those things that people always get, like, oh, you're together. Why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? Why don't you, like, you know, you get all those
Family,
questions.
yeah, the
you know
pressure,
what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
And everybody has how they navigate through life is different. But me and her always kind of had the same understanding and same kind of goals that we worked together, because we made sure we were okay financially before we started doing the family.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
that
very
just worked for
responsible,
us.
man.
Yeah, and that just worked for us.
Yeah,
I'm not
for sure.
saying that it won't work for anybody else. Like, that just worked for us.
It's responsible in that, like, of course, if you have a kid at any juncture in your life, you're going to be able to, like, focus on your children and make things happen.
Yeah.
But if you're actually a little bit more responsible and, like, set a structure for your own family that you're going to create, it helps out a tremendous amount. Yeah, it helps out.
Yeah, because we were financially stable. Me and her were together as far as our relationship was solid. So we're adding an extra person to our family.
And 2 at that, right?
Yeah, no, we had one, and then we waited, and then we had another one.
Yeah.
And then we got married. And then, you know what I mean? So we did our things like our own
Beautiful
way.
kids. They both have long hair like their daddy.
Man, just like, you see this flow dog, and I'm not balding, so you guys always think that I'm wearing a hat because I'm balding. I'm not. Y'all know.
No, that is cool. It's cool to see, because I talked about you going to jiu-jitsu, and then you bring your kids along. Yeah, man. So that's fucking amiable. That's dope, man. That you have a certain extracurricular activity that you do in your life, but you've brought and got your kids along, and they are very. I guess your son got some awards, or he put it in a competition or something like that.
No. So like my kids. So I have a 9 and a 5.
Okay.
And it's cool because like they have their own personalities.
Okay.
So when I started doing jiu-jitsu like a year and a half ago, shout out to Grind Underground.
Yeah, for sure.
And all the homies out there. But I was already going for a year, and the kids wanted to do it, and I was like, I want you to do it because you want to do it, not because I'm doing it.
Sure, yeah,
you
for
know
sure,
what I
for
mean?
sure, yeah.
Because I'm really honest when it comes to a parent, because, you know, working through the city, I got to see a lot of parents with their sports kids, and they're trying to, you know, I was one of the fortunate things that I got to do is a lot of my friends had kids younger than me.
Right.
So I was able to see how they navigated through life, and it was kind of like how that worked for them, what didn't work for them. So I was able to apply it for us. So when I started raising my kids, I have like a certain standard that I want them to have. That
Sure, make their own decisions.
Yeah, their own decision. Because I was like, hey, Jimmy, when are they gonna play hockey? I'm like, if they want to play hockey, they'll play. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, Jimmy, you were good playing hockey. Why your kids aren't playing hockey? It's like, that's not something that's on the radar.
So also with the jiu-jitsu, were you ever hesitant, like maybe he's 9 years old, I don't want him to get hurt or anything like that?
No, I just feel like that now that I've been around the sport long enough, I feel like that. I think any martial arts kind of makes kids or people aware of the world. Like, you're over here thinking that, you know, nobody can knock your head off. You know what I mean? Or,
absolutely.
Or we talked about a little bit.
Yeah,
just being able to defend yourself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Just having that little bit of confidence and understanding and respect, and then just kind of like, I think martial arts brings that out of kids. Not everybody.
I think there's a difference between when you watch WWE or WWF or whatever, you know, like the wrestling or fighting or UFC, and you're like, damn, I could do that. Or, so you just gotta but then you actually get into martial arts and you learn the endurance aspect of it, the conditioning, the actual technique.
Yeah.
it's like a whole different view, worldview. You like, I don't want to fight. Like, I'm just ready to defend myself if I have to. You know what I mean?
I feel like everybody should at least be in some type of martial arts for a little bit to understand. Bit of confidence, a little bit of confidence, and also understanding that you're not invincible.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And then also other people are not as strong, and you're able to help them too, and just in case. You know what I mean?
You can stand up for somebody who doesn't know how to stand up for this. It's not like you're trying to be Superman, but if there's any ever situation that's that something's not right and you feel like you could do something about it, and you could feel confident that you could de-escalate something.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. That's a little bit of power, not a trip, but something that you can definitely help out somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, my little ass ain't trying to stop a fight with two big motherfuckers, but if some little kid's getting punked,
you're not gonna think twice. Hey, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it is not cool. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So so you got through college life, and then you have started your family life. What was your aspect at that point? Like, did you have goals for a career, or did you set your feet down? Like, I want to be this or that, or
so like after having those 3 jobs, I was fortunate enough to start working as a contractor for immigration.
Oh damn!
So I was like, oh shit! Like, everybody looked at me like, fucking Jimmy's working for the government. You know what I mean? But for me, I always felt like I took advantage of my personality, the way I carry myself. Like, people get to know me. Like, I'm not the best. I'm not by all means the smartest person in the room, but I'm dependable. I could listen, I could learn. And that's one thing that I learned through my IT career, is that a lot of people that are like above you, like, I've noticed it. If you're not trying to like one up them or show, like, if you're willing to learn, and I'm sure you've seen that through cooking, if you see somebody willing to learn and their attitude is right, like, for those people will go out of their way to help you out. And I've always been fortunate to have that, because they saw my worth ethic and what I was trying to do. And I'm not trying to like,
I think whatever realm you're in, as long as you stay coachable, you know what I mean, open-minded, and you listen to what somebody has to say, it's going to take you far. Because I'm willing to help somebody that's willing to take the help, you know what I mean, rather than like, oh, I know that okay, you know that, then you're good. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. So with combat sports, or with a profession or anything like that, for
anything
sure.
in life,
for sure.
And that's how it was too, because like, so when I was doing that, and I started traveling a lot, so I went from working in an office and then having the opportunity to start traveling and doing these little projects out of town, and I was like, oh damn, this is amazing. You know what I mean? Here I am, like, making okay money, and then going out of town and going to places I've been to Miami.
Yeah, you have though, man. Yeah,
I got to go do that little area and kind of check that out. I've been
Biscayne
to different
Bay.
places. Yeah, been to DC, LA. A lot of different places that I never would have thought I've ever been.
Opened some doors for you.
Only because I was doing IT stuff. You know what I mean? And slowly just kind of moved up through that. But the epiphany, happened when COVID. I'm sure people could relate.
2020.
Good or bad. Unfortunately for a lot of people. For me, it was bad because during that time, I lost my job, I lost my mom, and I was at home, and I was like, what the F am I going to do? You know what I mean? And that's how the whole content started coming. Okay. You know what I mean? I was at home, and I was like, I was kind of looking for jobs, but not really. And I felt like, man, they fired me, these motherfuckers. It was always personal, you know what I mean? And, as I gotten older, just kind of like more like, what can I do about it instead of just bitching?
Yeah, like, this is my path, so how do I take advantage of this?
And that's when I started kind of being more where I'm on this path now. Like, I started creating content for fun. I was always creating content when I was little, hockey videos, little skits, and just doing little things. But I never thought it'd kind of lead to it being a passion.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So having that time at home with my kids, you know what I mean? My wife was still working. We were okay. It's not like, financially we were hurting. But for me as a man, my ego was like hit. You know what I mean? Here I am making X amount of money, and now I'm making no money.
Sheesh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll hit.
For me, and then just kind of like it put me in a space to kind of like how we were saying, just look inward and what can I do about it? For sure. And I just started streaming online on Facebook, you know what I mean? Playing Warzone like a million other people.
Nice, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I took my IT experience and my education, and I started doing little things to kind of like make me better at it.
So Warzone is a Call of Duty. I'm not the greatest player at all.
Me neither.
But me neither. So, but that's what I'm saying. So you found a channel to take a hobby that you have, playing Call of Duty, and talking to a community of people at the same time, and then not only talking to the community right through Twitch. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I was doing Facebook.
Facebook
Okay. was the main grind at
and
the
is
time.
was it live?
Yeah, it was live.
Oh, that's interesting, man. Because like, so you're live, and then other people are interacting with your game and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, like they're just in the chat. You know what I mean? Like I'm playing and getting my ass kicked. All right, here you go, guys. Here's fucking getting my ass kicked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I after a while, like when I started first doing it, I felt like I had to be really good at it.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's my inhibition from even starting something like that, for sure.
So over time, when I was playing, and it was like about a year, once I was just, because at the time I wasn't working and I was streaming, and then I had part-time jobs or like kind of doing little things.
Yeah.
And then I just, after a year, I realized that I can't be successful as much as I want to be doing this, as much as, you know what I mean? I was more realistic. And that's when I started like being more honest with myself and how I was going with my content. And that's when I was like, all right, cool. I know what I want to do. And I'm going to start going that way, because I stopped playing Warzone and I just started playing other games because I felt like I was more entertaining than a sweat or being good at something. I'm not going to play Madden and run up the score on somebody.
Right.
I'm not going to play Warzone and run up and be murdering everybody. But what I can do is I can make your ass laugh, or I could be entertaining, I could be engaging. So I'm doing, like, when you're a streamer, a lot of people don't understand, like, you're multitasking like a motherfucker. So I got better at doing that and feeling more confident in front of a camera.
Yeah, so
without realizing I was like,
you're not
doing
only just
shit.
playing the game and trying to figure out each game and how to use the buttons, but you're like talking to the chat, and then you're also like making sure the video is like doing the right thing.
It sounds good. It looks good. You know what I mean? Everything working, the stream working. Yeah. So I was like, a lot of wheels were turning at that time for sure.
So that's like the beginning of like, okay, I can do, like, what were you actually thinking though? Like, when you say that you're going down this path, you picked a path. Was it that I want to be a streaming gamer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I see how these motherfuckers doing it. I could do this.
I could do this, right?
Like, these guys are making money. What?
Yeah. Okay.
I could do this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But like that, after that year, I realized like, whoa, as much as I want to be successful and do this, I can't. You know what I mean? I felt like over time I was more realistic with myself.
Was it going to take time, or was
it time and effort? And at that time too, when I started doing it, you know, keep in mind I'm at home.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I have all the time in the world to do stuff, and then, you know, a lot of things, my other buckets were being filled.
Oh, okay.
The husband bucket,
sure.
The dad bucket, my career. You know what I mean? A lot of things were lacking because I was more focused on that.
Yeah.
And I felt like
it was like a game in itself, like a game in itself you wanted to conquer. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going all in on this, thinking it's gonna work, instead of like, you know, balancing what the hell I had going on.
Your life in like, you know, the real reality, right?
And I think I had to go through that, through my relationship and through all like thinking that I could do that, and then realizing that I didn't want to do that as much as I wanted to, but I had to go through it myself. Sure. Just like anybody else, when they think they want to do something and then they go through it and they're like, I thought I wanted to do this, but now I want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can relate kind of. I don't know if this is the same, but I always wanted to be like a chef. I always wanted to be like this great chef at a great restaurant, or even own my own restaurant. But as I worked in the restaurants, I'm like, damn, this is hard, and these guys work fucking hard, and I wasn't making a lot of money, so I was like, you know what? Let me apply at Costco, you know, and I actually worked at Costco for 12 years because I was feeding my family and I was doing all the, you know, like, I had great benefits and all this stuff, you know what I mean? So I put chefing kind of to the side and realized that much as I want to be a chef, I just can't, you know what I mean? Like, so I went those 12 years, but eventually we get to a point where it's like, okay, financially I'm good. You know, family is what it is, right? We're at a certain juncture. And then you went for it? Like, did you go for it? Is that when you created your brand? No. So at that time when I first started streaming, like with me, I'm a really observant person. Okay. I see what other people are doing and see how I can apply it in my life. Okay. So I watch a lot of content creators that were big, small, medium, and then I was trying to fit around there. And a lot of the biggest thing that I saw from people that I would listen to, and I'm sure you could relate this, is like being yourself and knowing what you're confident, what you want to do. So I would see a lot of people do something because everybody else was doing it, because it made sense. And I got to the point to where like, I don't want to do that. Just because everybody else is doing it, I'm going to do it. And that's when I was kind of like, yeah, my views went down. Yeah, my community, like it might not be as popping or whatever, but I felt like I was finding myself through creating content. I was like, man, you know what? I want to do an unboxing. Here's my mic. This is how I set it up. These are the settings. And on that time, I was making a video for YouTube. And at the same time, I was educating myself and I was putting something out there that people could learn from. And I was like, all right,
let me just start doing this. So I just started just making little videos. I borrow friends' equipment and just do reviews. It wasn't even my stuff. But I just started doing those reps. How you were saying, you get those reps and feel more confident in making that kind of content, because the live streaming was fun, and I put that a lot. But I realized, you know, just being online and live for hours at a time wasn't something that I wanted to do anymore.
No, but let's say you were making money, would you have kept doing that? I
think, yeah, because at one point when during the whole Facebook boom and a lot of people were making money, at one point, and I'm not bragging or anything, but I knew people that were making more. I was making like $1,000 a month just playing video games.
Damn, that's
everybody looks
cool.
at me like, what the fuck?
That's cool.
But it was crazy because like everybody was doing it, but all of a sudden COVID ended.
Killed it.
Everybody started going back to work. Nobody had time to be watching, you know what I mean? The game changed. So at that time, that's when I started realizing, man, I'm a creative ass guy. I don't need to depend on a game to get me by. I don't need to depend. And that's when I was more confident to go do stuff that wasn't going to make money. Okay. Because I would like the whole financially thing. I was I was already working. I had a full-time job at my home. Everything's good, and now I feel confident that I can go
you're blessed to find that actual passion, like like what's gonna make me happy, regardless of how many people like what I'm doing or feel me, like this is what makes me happy.
Because a lot of people, and you can apply this to anything in life, when you start not getting the return that you want from before, that's when a lot of people, you could start see them like, this isn't for me anymore,
fall off,
and which is fine. You know, it doesn't make sense time-wise. For me, when I realized that money wasn't an issue, that's when I felt like I started growing even more, because that wasn't in the back of my head, because I knew a lot of content creators at the time, they went from making X amount of money a month and then all the bonuses, everything started going away. Now you had to go back to work, and now they're not streaming or doing content, and I'm like, now we see who's about, you know. But to me, I felt like, wow, I pivoted when it made sense, because I'm doing this because I wanted to do it, not because of the money. I got caught up in the money, the little bit of money that I was making. But I felt like going through that, you know, I was learning more about myself and my creative space. I'm like, man, I'm a creative ass dude. I want to do this, I want to do that, and I don't have to worry about making money. Right. And everybody's like, damn, that's dope. I'm like, fuck yeah, it is. You know what I mean?
That's cool, man.
Financial burden.
Yeah. Everybody, it happens differently, and I respect your path. My path is a little bit different. Basically, in 2020, COVID happened, but I also was going through a divorce. So I told myself, like, I'm going for broke. Like, I no longer like worked. I'm gonna figure out a way to leave Costco. I'm gonna make sure I can still take care of my kids, but I'm gonna make a path to leave Costco. And how am I gonna do that? I'm gonna start my business, and I'm gonna make sure that I have this goal of getting inside somebody's house and being their personal chef. And I was like, you know, I have nothing to do this other than work my ass off to figure out this goal. And there was nothing that stopped me, man. I just kept going and failing and figuring it out, and you know what I mean. And that, through that, I was able to luckily meet the right clientele that felt my vibe, what I was trying to bring. And to go with what you were saying, I started doing podcasting as like a side thing, like to pay it forward. You know what I mean? Hopefully I can help other people with finding their passions. And then I started thinking, like, man, what if somebody like sponsors me and like drops like, I don't know, 80 grand, 100 grand on me and like says, do the podcast? I would die if I could not. Man. I would die. I would die if I could not personal chef anymore. That's my thing. That's what I love, bro. That's what I'm blessed to do. Like when I'm inside somebody's homes and they're like, hey chef, what's for dinner? I'm like, life is good. You know what I mean? Life is fucking good. So I understand that, man. When you pivot the right time, you know what I mean? And go all out, like commit fully 100%, man. That's respectable 100%. So how about the JDG? When did you actually say, I'm Jimmy Dukes?
Yeah. So like when I was going to start my channel, I was like, fuck. Like everybody had like their brands or whatever, and so I grew up as Jimmy Dukes. My real name is Jaime Rodriguez. But you know, growing up and playing hockey, I had some older friends. Always a shout out to the twin, the Maters. But we used to watch Bloodsport.
Okay.
Remember
Bloodsport with Van Damme, yeah, for sure.
And the guy was named Frank Dukes. Oh, so we would always kind of do the lines, you know, before memes and phones. We would say lines from movies, and I would always do a line, and I would do that part where the guy was kicking the other guy, and Van Damme's like, "Come on, right?" And then they just started calling me Dukes. Then they just started adding Jimmy, and they just started Jimmy Dukes, and I was like. So throughout high school, some people call me Jimmy Dukes. Not everybody, but it was my hockey buddies.
Yeah, is it Bloodsport, the one where he's like,
yeah. Okay. So they Frank Dukes in the movie. So I love that movie so much at the time. That nickname just stuck. So when I was gonna make my channel, I'm like, fuck it, Jimmy Duke's Gaming.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
And that's just how it was. But it's like building a brand, like starting a brand, and then a lot of people don't understand. Like once you have your name and your brand, it's just like you got to start building it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people like they always get tripped out. Like I always wear my stuff. You know what I mean? I feel confident in my brand. I'm my brand. The way I hold myself and carry myself, and like I've learned that through other people. Like when you have a brand and it matters to you, then you know what I mean? A lot of people could just say, "Oh, here's my logo," and I'm gonna throw it on a shirt. Like, hey, this shit matters to me. That's what I'm trying to do.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. You gave me a shirt when I was on your podcast. Thanks for letting me be on your podcast, by the way. But you said you called me later and you're like, hey man, what's your address? I want to send you a shirt. And I was like, dude, that's I should owe you for letting me be on their podcast. And but I still wear that shirt, man. It's just a black shirt with a JDG on it, man. But people ask me, what's that? Oh, it's a podcast I was on. You should check it out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's just like duh. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I should be giving. I'm trying to figure out because like I bought a sweater and I put my logo on it. Trying to figure out what I should be able to give to my guests. I feel that 100%.
I feel like when you start building a brand, just like anything else,
you
and
should
I'm
be very proud of it.
I'm just learning still as I go. You know what I mean? I've been doing content for almost 5 years now, so I'm still finding myself as I keep doing different things.
Yeah, branding is a whole thing in itself, man. Because like I started my business, it's keeping it PC, personal chef service. I'm Chef Clay. But if you ask people, they're like this one chef calls me PC. He's like PC because he knows me from IG. It's keeping it PC. So I'm trying to like hone in and really exploit the actual brand. But I think what actually sells more is the Chef Clay thing. Like knowing me as Chef Clay. Oh, you're Chef Clay. You know what I mean? So I'm like trying to intertwine the thing and trying to figure it out, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
bro, you're blowing my mind because like right now, one of the biggest things is I'm doing more videography stuff, and I'm like, I'm Jimmy Duke's Gaming. They're like gaming, and I'm like, yeah, don't let the gaming fool you. But the thing is kind of like, you know what? That's my shit, and I'm going to just own it. You know what I mean? Because I have the podcast going, Jimmy Duke's Gaming. So I shorten it for JDG so people don't get confused with the name. But I can totally relate what you're saying because I'm known as Jimmy Dukes, but some people just call me Jimmy Duke's Gaming. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like this whole like there's like all these knobs and things you can turn, and like, you know, you're trying to figure out like what grabs people's attention. But you know, branding is all in itself. I bet you there's like a certain company, like I know there's a guy out there that does like Marketing Hunters. They talk about branding and like solely do branding and help out your actual brand. So I don't know, man, like shout out to you because the JDG, it definitely sticks. And now I have you on YouTube and I see your episodes. You're doing not only gaming but your combat sports. You've used the fact that you go to the jiu-jitsu gym. Shout out again, Grind Underground. But you use that kind of community to kind of just open up your horizons to other gyms and then talk about helping out videography wise and commentating and helping out their purposes and stuff like that.
And that's the thing too, is because when I started training jiu-jitsu, it was more obviously because it was more for myself and I wanted to get back into it. But as I started being around and getting to know everybody, because I'm new to the whole community. Because I used to train at 10th Planet. Shout out to 10th Planet and Cristobal. And I trained there for 2 years, and I took a 5-year break because of life, adulting. So I went back when I wanted to go back to training jiu-jitsu. It was in the Northeast. I'm just a brand new face. But in my head, I'm like, I want to record myself doing jiu-jitsu stuff, but I don't want to come in with a camera and like people don't know who the hell I am, and I'm just kind of like recording. But over time, I got to know everybody, and then the owner and the black belt there, Justin. I said, hey, do you mind if I bring my camera? He's like, go for it. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, I want to record this. Go for it. So just by having that opportunity to record and you learn how to use my camera. Because I was already editing from videos and things like that. But to actually record events and stuff like that. So having that practice at the gym, people started like, damn, that's pretty dope that you do that. I was like, I'm just learning to do this shit. You know what I mean? But I started
it's like you're just stepping into a world.
Exactly. I feel like I'm like going back to the whole creative. Like I'm creative and I don't feel like I want to, like for me, and I don't want to just focus on one thing. I'm sure if I could focus on one good thing, I can get really good at it.
Sure.
But for me, I just like doing what feels right and what I want to do at the time. A lot of people are like, well, you need to just focus on this. You need to focus on, well, I just want to do what I want to do.
Everybody got 2 cents, you know what I mean?
Of course, I get it, man. If you want, like, hey, you want it, like people, hey, I want to start a podcast, go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
Hey, man, go for it.
Do it, seriously.
When you're in the right direction, but
absolutely.
When you start realizing how much work goes into it, you might not want to do it anymore.
Honestly,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it's not about getting likes or anything like that. that. It's more about like just like what's your message, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And you're like, oh man. But so you do the combat sports and stuff like that. But like you even reached out to the gym that I go to over at Ricky Maynes. You asked him to come in the gym.
Yeah, man. So there was actually let me give a quick shout out to Empire MMA, Charlie, and he's out in the Northeast too, and he has his team. They had a smoker. It's called a smoker. It's like an in-house tournament.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, hey, I know you stream. You're good with equipment and stuff. Can you come and record and just live stream it? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're gonna give me the opportunity, so shout out to Charlie over there at Empire MMA. I did that first thing, and with the little content and what I did at the time, dude, I made like X amount of videos, and everybody's like, hey, damn, that's pretty dope. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. And then that's when, I reached out to Ricky.
Yeah, shout out Ricky over at SVG Academy.
Yeah, man. And then I told Ricky, and then, shout out to Lamar too. And I was like, they had the KFL thing coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was like, hey, can I come in? They're like, yeah. And I was like, what can I do? He's like, do whatever you want. And I'm like, what?
That's what I'm saying.
Bro, shout out to Ricky. And I told that to him when I first went to that thing, man. I was like, I greatly appreciate that. For me being a creator, like some people don't understand it, even in the music business and when all that stuff, when somebody tells you you could just do you and not have to worry about
Ricky's a great guy. He sees the not only he may not see your vision, but he's going to encourage you to figure it out too. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's definitely opened some doors for me and helped me out in a lot of different ways.
And that was the thing, just having an opportunity to go in the back and just record. And I made it a point too, because I knew a lot of the fighters and one of my things that I'm doing now and I'm practicing is that I'm neutral.
Okay.
I'm neutral.
Yeah. You're not trying to claim
I'm not
your gym is the best or anything like that.
And I'm not there to hang out. When I'm going to these events and I want to let these promoters and owners know when I show up, I'm working.
Word.
I'm not drinking a beer. I'm not fucking hanging out. Yeah. I'm actually trying to document and capture some moments and put some stuff together. So that's how I get that credibility from people, because if people see me like, oh damn, he's really trying to do this. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's cool, because I know Ricky, but I also know the coaches and Lamar and stuff like that. So it was cool to see a different perspective of not only like being watching a fight, but you have these videos of them mic'd up, and then they're like, hey man, that left's gonna get in, you gotta get the left man, and hey, focus, and it's like not like like watching a boxing match where they do the cuts in the corner, but like it's somebody you know what I mean, like, and this is El Paso, representing, so it's really cool, man. Those videos are cool, bro.
And that was the thing too, and at that point, because I remember, and I had thought about that. And this is my creative mind. I'm sure you could think of things all the time. Like, I'm always writing things down. Sure. I'm always writing things down, So when that opportunity came, I already had wireless mics, and I was never really using them the way I could. And that just popped in my mind. I saw there's like 5 guys recording the fights and taking pictures of the fights. What can I do to be different? Fucking got these mics. Hey, my name's Jimmy. I'm just here doing whatever. Like, can I mic you up? Yeah. I say a lot of crazy shit. Don't worry about it.
We'll edit it out. Yeah.
But that was I was building my relationship with other fighters and other gyms, and they see what I'm trying to do, because I feel like, shout out to all the fighters out there and doing all that thing, but the coaching staff, the people, they get everything going. I feel like a lot of people don't get that shine. So I feel like when I started doing that series of getting mic'd up, the coaches are just as passionate as the fighters.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And they put their time in, and they see the potential in their teammates. And being a coach or a owner of a gym, you want somebody to
succeed.
If they want to pursue that. And for me, I feel like I like being a fly on the wall. I'm a fan of combat sports. So if I could just be in the back to hang out, boom, that's a win for me.
Hell yeah,
and then not only that, I get to record and just kind of be a fly on the wall. Yeah. It's dope.
Yeah, so you did CFC, right? Recently?
I did CFC. Shout out to Carlos, Combat Fighting Championship, man. I did the KFL.
Yeah, KFL has another
Kingdom Fighting. Yeah, they got one coming in December. Man.
Yeah, so you guys got to check that out. It's like December 7th, I think, or something like that. Yeah, for sure.
And that was, so Charlie gave me the opportunity to do that. Then KFL came out. I reached out to Ricky. I was like, hey, I know you guys got this promotion. You guys want to do a podcast. Come to the gym. I was like, what? I was like, yeah. It did all that. And I kind of just springboarded from that, because it gave me an opportunity to practice using my camera, practice having conversations, getting to know people and things like that, and then making dope content. Like one thing I always say, like, I'm living life and creating dope content.
For sure,
I tell people that all the time. Whatever it is, I feel like I'm creating dope shit. If you like it, great. If not, hey, it's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, for sure, man. That's what's up, dude. So let me ask you, man, kind of a little bit of a transition, but like, who or what inspires you? Like, first of all, as a man, but then also as a podcaster.
I feel like I could find inspiration through the littlest things. And, you know, I mean, just like, you know, as you're getting older, you know, we were kind of talking about, you know, like my mom kind of pointed me in the right direction and my dad's work ethic and things like that. And then even shout out to my brother, Randy, man. My brother grew up with a camera and doing all that stuff. Yeah. And he was a musician. So he influenced me a lot. So I was like, oh shit, all the stuff that I'm doing is kind of like coming all together.
Culmination of everybody's.
I told my wife jokingly, like, I was like, babe, my personality, the way I carry myself and being able to do like computer stuff and learn stuff has like funneled for me to be a content creator for my life. So she starts laughing. She's like, shut up.
That's your sales pitch.
Yeah, but I'm taking advantage of all the things that I've learned over time, and people inspired me in different ways. You know what I mean? So I can find inspiration just through a lot of different people, even just people pursuing what they want to do. I don't have like somebody I just kind of look up to, but you know, a lot of people inspire me. As far as like podcast hosts, like any of the, you know, obviously when I was creating content, doing unboxings and doing the video game thing, and then at one point, I was like about 2.5 years in, and I was like, you know what? I want to do a podcast. I always wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't know what about and how to go about it. And I started doing research. During that time, that's when I was doing jiu-jitsu, and I would see Eddie Bravo on the Joe Rogan podcast. Wow. So I was like, oh, I know Joe Rogan because of UFC. I didn't know he had a podcast. I didn't know that he was having people come in, and mostly they were all fighters. But one thing I did get from Joe and a lot of other podcast hosts is that people were looking so forward to talk to them. It always tripped me out. It was comedians, athletes, fighters, just scientists. And I liked that he was able to hold a conversation and be open to learn. And I felt like,
not just be an expert like in fighting or whatever, but he just was listening.
Exactly. And I was like, what? Sit down and talk to dope people? Why the hell not?
Sign me up.
And that's when I did. But at first, when I started doing the JDD podcast, when I started pivoting, I was just reaching out to my content creator homies. So all my content creator homies out there, they gave me an opportunity to get those reps.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's part of like what I was seeing. It's like you were actually playing games and having a conversation. That was fucking cool, man.
Yeah, seriously. And I was like, all right, cool. Now we're going to start talking about content creation. And after a little bit, that's when, you know, Paul was saying like, I get a little stir crazy and like try to do different things. That's when I was like, you know what? I got to branch out. I can't just do gaming stuff. I want to do other stuff. And that was the opportunity that I saw from Rogan that he did in his own way. I just was like, there's a path. There's other podcast hosts that do the same thing. I don't want to be stuck in just one genre or be known for one thing. And that's when I was more open to try to talk to people for the right types of reasons, not just to have a podcast, just to have a podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I felt like
get the cloud or whatever.
I wanted to have meaningful conversations because I feel like, you know, when we did our conversation, I felt like, God damn, it's like a therapy session. You know, it really is.
Every time I do this, I feel like it's a therapy session because it's, you know, it's stuff that I have either inside of me that I want to get out. No one's ever had a conversation, but we're going to talk about it, you know, and it's always a therapy session, man. Since the first podcast that I've had, 62, we're 62 in, man. I love doing this shit. So.
Yeah, dude. And that's when I was like, all right, cool. That's why I was more like open to start reaching out to different types of people and aspect musicians, business owners. And then at the same time, I'm learning from other people. You know what I mean? And if they ever need help with something that I can offer, and it's like I always tell people, it's like a mutual win-win.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I haven't, you know, to this felt like they're coming on just to get something out of me.
Nah, and I don't think it's always like organic. That's why we keep it organic, right?
And that's why I always wanted to be that way. I don't want to be on somebody's podcast because I feel like it could lead me forward, or vice versa. Like just be on my shit just to get you going, and like I don't ever want to be that way. And maybe that's hindering me, but that's how I want to go about it.
I think, when you start thinking about podcasting as a business, you might feel more inclined to do things like that. But when we're doing it for just the passion of it and like really like what this is a hobby, honestly. Like I pay for it. I don't have any sponsors and stuff like that. So I keep doing it because I love doing it. I love talking to good people. I love trying to bring that passion out, and maybe somebody sees it and they're like, fuck, I could do that too. You know what I mean? That's my goal. You know what I mean? If later somebody wants to sponsor and like things happen, you know, I'm willing.
Yes.
You know, things can happen. That's great. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
But that's where we kind of relate, man. We're both doing it for the passion of it and like the organic like feel of what people want to be on talking on our show.
Yeah,
shit,
dude.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Like people like, you want to be on my shit for the right type of reasons. But I feel like one thing that as I gotten better with having the conversations with different people is I've had so many people like, bro, I listened to this, that fucking hit home. And I'm like, thank you. First of all, you listened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Second of all, like you got something from it. You know what I mean? And I feel like every time I have somebody on, I want to have if anybody listens to my stuff, I hope they get something out of it.
Yeah.
Other than just supporting me, which I appreciate,
Yeah.
or supporting the guest. If they can look, they can be like, damn, that hour worth of time was pretty dope. Like,
For
I actually
sure.
got a new perspective on life, or learned
Hell
something
yeah.
about something. You know,
With
I
you,
feel
100%.
I feel like that's why I do it. 'Cause
Definitely.
it
Yeah.
makes me better.
For sure,
You know, it
dude.
makes
As a
I feel
person and as a
it makes
podcaster,
me
for sure,
fucking
yeah.
better.
Hell
Every guest that I've had on, I appreciated their time. And I felt like I got a piece of what they go through, or their perspective on life, that helps me,
Sure.
good or bad.
Yeah, for sure,
You
man.
know what I mean?
I have a cousin. She's a really big supporter of the show. But she texted me one time. She's like, "Is that you? Oh, you're only gonna have chefs on the show?" And I'm like, honestly, like, I didn't want it to be that way, but when as a chef, I look up to all these guys.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're not doing what I'm doing, I look up to them, and I appreciate what they have to do. So when they sit down with me, I'm like, that's cool as shit.
Hell yeah.
And like somebody like Chef Enrique Lozano, he's like, I'm like, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you. And he's like, no, man, thank you for what you're doing for the community. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Right?
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, hold on. Like, are we here? Like, was this real?
Yeah, well, people
Yeah.
like, it's crazy because like I do it because I want to do it. First of all, like when I create content, I'm doing
Yeah.
it because I want to do it, and I don't ever think about it like, oh, I hope people like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I hope people like it, but
Yeah,
I'm
for
doing
sure.
it for me.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like if I truly doing it for me,
It'll hit the right audience. Yeah.
people will like it or not like it, and the right people will like it,
Sure.
and that's okay. But I'm still making it for me. A lot of people get so caught up that they're doing something for somebody else, which I understand when it comes to business, when the
Yeah.
music, and I get that. Like for me, and like going back to the whole financial thing, for us, we're doing it because we want to do it. We're actually paying money.
Yeah, exactly.
To do it.
Yeah,
But
and time. Yeah.
But for me, I feel like it's helping me going in the direction that I'm going anyway. So
Yeah,
by
definitely.
doing this, it's worthwhile. So might as well make it meaningful.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, I love conversating with people. I mean, I think my grandfather, when I was younger, he used to like, sit there and talk to me about like, history and, like even culture and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, this is annoying. As I got older, I was like, I couldn't wait to sit down at that table, like, and just talk with them, like talk with me, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't the same, but I'm always been like that, where I have a lot to say. I just don't know if people are willing to conversate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sitting down with a podcast, it's what it is. People want to conversate, and I enjoy it thoroughly, man. I think it's not only therapy, but it's also like my calling in a way. I don't know, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't change it. A question I have is how do you translate your struggles and triumphs as a gamer and podcaster to everyday life?
I feel like if you're in that space, and people that have been in that space, it's tough, because a lot of people see like the biggest names, you know what I mean, but there's still the 0.00001% of making a living, you know what I mean? So going through realizing that ups and downs, people like my shit, people don't like my shit, people are subbing, people are not, or that like that up and down, it could take a toll on somebody, because I've seen a lot of people were like, this is too much of an emotional roller coaster. You know what I mean? But I feel like that, going through all that, it kind of built me for the creative space, because you feel more confident in how you move and when you move.
True.
And when you don't move, because a lot of people always like, well, you should do this, you should do that. Well, you should do that too, then go right ahead. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it just feel like going through all that, it has made me better, because it's, by all means, I'm not making a living doing this,
Sure.
but I've learned how to progressively get better at it to potentially make a living out of it.
Sure.
And I feel like going through all those struggles has built me to be a good creator, because sometimes like I've seen other creators like, he quit, he quit. I mean, life happens.
Sure, exactly.
And I used to be like, like that fool wasn't built that way. But after a while, it was more like, hey, like, this is not for everybody. Just how it is, the chef thing. You know what I mean? Like, you think you want to do it, when you start getting grinding and it's like 12-hour days all the time, you might realize that maybe this is not for me.
Sure.
And that's okay. You know what I mean? But some people that are in the creative space, I'm like, yeah, you know what's up. Because you can see that from other person.
For sure.
When they're in their line of work, you know the person that wants to be there just to be there, and the person that's really there that wants to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. Especially out of school, like out of culinary school, everybody's got their little chef bags and like nice clean chef coats, and you're like, I don't know if this fool's about the life, dude. I don't know, man. So you test them a little bit, and then you realize like they're not. You know what I mean? And you feel bad because you tested them, but at the same time, like it's better they figured it out sooner than later. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. For sure. But yeah, that's definitely a good correlation to everyday life, because podcasting is like up and down, but at the same time, if you just to keep the vision, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned in life too, is like to keep the vision, like, you know what I mean? Like I need to take care of my kids, make sure that they're mentally, you know, strong to hit the world, you know, the reality of world. And then same thing, like with the chef thing, like I just got to be mentally strong. Like I'm going to make sure I got my recipes down, make sure that I'm ready to go and I can conversate with these people, you know what I mean? Stay confident, you know what I mean? All that stuff. How about sports, combat sports, and like being in, not only being, what do you call, like a actual jiu-jitsu, what do you call it, like an actual,
I guess jiu-jitsu practitioner, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
And then so now that you're doing that and then you're covering it, are you seeing like a different aspect?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've always, you know, I grew up watching UFC. I watched UFC 1, you know what I mean? And then, you know, little backstory, I went to the UFC gym when I was in my mid-20s. I was like, I want to go learn to do some shit.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And then that's when I got exposed to the whole jiu-jitsu world and things like that. But for me,
so that was like probably MMA is like the whole gamut of things. Okay.
Yeah, so but I feel like being in that space is cool because you get to see other people pursuing that. And then you meet Joe Blow just like me, who's just trying to hang out and work out.
Right.
Other dads that are just trying to get in shape,
get a workout
going. For me, like I can't lift weights or run on a treadmill anymore. I can't anymore.
Nah?
I mean, I could if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I'd rather go roll around and get my ass kicked by an 18-year-old than to go lift weights at a gym. That's just me. So that's like a therapy thing. But being around it, I get to hang out. And the camaraderie is one of the biggest things that I like. If you're in any sports, the camaraderie in the community, it kind of like everybody's kind of
in the same struggle.
Yeah, you're all trying to help each other out. Like sometimes when somebody's having a bad day, you can tell. You don't have to be like, I'm your therapist. Yeah. But like just them being there, like, hey, good shit, you showed up. Good thing. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Just hearing that kind of stuff.
Have a good day. Boom, bam. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what I mean? I think it's
all
good.
It's really all good. It's a good community.
Yeah. And then it helps me because now that I understand some of the struggles of these guys going through, so I'm like, then I could bring my videography and brain and creativity to start like documenting and getting different angles and different things, because I've had a lot of fighters like, hey man, that was a dope shot, that was a dope. I was like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? Like being around it and knowing the know about it is dope too, because then you get to know a lot of the, you know, people in the community, and then you get to talk to the right type of people, and you know when to stay away around certain type of people that aren't kind of like what you got going on, which is fine. You know, everybody has different wavelengths, how you said,
sure,
man,
dude.
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
So I always try to just be just present myself how I always am. I'm myself always. I mean, there's times I need to be more serious and need to be dad or I need to be guy at work, but I'm pretty much myself like all the time. So I have this certain aura, and I see other people's aura, and then like it matches. So it makes sense.
For sure. I think that's we both respect the Bro Monroe show, huh? Because they have a certain avenue and
shout out to Bro Monroe.
Shout out to those guys, man, because like we're like professional. We're podcast, but then you get on the show and they're like, they're so loose, they're so great. You know what I mean? They're fun to be around. It's like, let me chill out.
Because it's always like, what's your purpose in life? What's your mission?
Yeah, right.
What
exactly.
Struggle? Bitch, have this fucking beer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Man, that shit was amazing for that experience. So shout out to them too, man.
Same, dude.
And I feel like that goes to the whole creative space. Like people do it for different things, because it's like that audience was more like, hey, this was like it was more fun to be a part of than I thought I was gonna be. You know,
you guys can check it out. It's a local El Paso podcast called the Bro Monroe Show. It's three guys that are just fucking having fun talking to some cool people, man. Really comedians and like guys like us and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's like comedians and then guys like us.
Wow. Exactly. Right? But I mean, for sure,
That's
man.
how I feel.
They got a good guest list though, for sure. So we talked about branding. We talked about going to school, education, and stuff like that. I know some people get scared by the word entrepreneur, but I'm gonna ask you, like, what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
I feel like, and that's the thing that I'm starting to feel more confident in, because a lot of people go into something knowing, all right, this is what I'm going in, and you know, and I respect that. How you say, like, I know where I'm going.
Sure.
You know what I mean? For me, I'm just I'm not there yet, but I'm learning to get there, because like in essence, I am an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a broad spectrum.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I don't label or say that I am. I just feel like I'm trying to make a living creating content and things that I enjoy doing. And obviously, I'm not making money right now doing it, but I feel like I'm gathering all the tools to kind of switch that to where it's actually business
lucrative, or you're making something
making sense, you know what I mean? So like I don't feel like I'm an entrepreneur, but in essence I am, and I'm always thinking about those kind of moves. Like I say, I wear my brand.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like the word entrepreneurship, what does that mean to you?
I feel like it's just somebody that's pursuing something that they're making a living what they want to do. You know what I mean? Obviously it's from the norm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anybody could be an entrepreneur. I mean,
well, that's the thing. Like some people are like,
I'm
you know
gonna
what?
sell you this can.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, this is a dope can. And like, oh, why is it gonna like it? Well, you see the lettering and so like that, and I make this, and it's good water. Oh, okay. And then like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because like there's so many, like somebody like I kind of label myself as an entrepreneur sometimes, and people get turned off because if you're an entrepreneur, you have to own several businesses, or you have to have real estate and
that's
this and that and the other. And I'm like, okay, I get that, and that could be absolutely true. We'll go to a dictionary and we'll figure that out. But to have the sense of entrepreneurship and realize that there's so many aspects that you need to have a business that's successful, it doesn't take money and this. It's like there's so many aspects to becoming to get to that point. And right now, like I know for a fact that I had nothing and now I have something. Yeah. So it took entrepreneurship to get there because I'm focused, you know what I mean? And I know that it takes branding, sales, networking, you know, having my head on my shoulders every single day, you know, meditating and being present is part of entrepreneurship, you know what I mean? Like it's a wide spectrum, just like I told you. So have some pat yourself on the back on it because you're doing a lot of work. You're putting in a lot of work, man.
And I appreciate that because I had little people that tell me that and like, damn, you're doing, and I feel like I haven't done shit. That's how I always feel. And it's not a way to stay humble, but I feel like I can do more. And I appreciate you see me at this level and how you said, like, I see that my future self down that. And I'm just keep doing what I feel like trying to go in that direction and not lead
keep getting
off.
Closer and closer. Yeah, for sure.
Just like, I know I'll get there when I get there. And that's another thing too, that you know, going back to the whole money thing, money doesn't stop me from doing what I'm doing.
It shouldn't,
you know what I mean? And like to be an entrepreneur and like the I guess the broad, like the general sense where everybody thinks that money's a big thing. Yeah. Because I feel like all these tools that I'm learning, so when I'm in the position where money's a thing, I feel like I'm gonna be aligned.
Exactly.
To be successful.
Absolutely. You have the tools and experience.
Yes, I'm not in a rush to get there. You know, I'll get there when I get there, and if it makes sense for me, then you know, God willing, I will.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Here's another question: how do you maintain, like, what keeps you motivated as a brand owner and a podcast producer?
You know, just I always use this as a reference. My buckets. You know, I have my dad bucket, my husband bucket, kids, work, jujitsu. I have to have all those buckets working in order for me to keep doing this. Right. Because if I feel like I'm not doing any of those, and that took time, by all means. Like, I was not perfect. Like, just I think the past 3 years, I'm on a mission. Sure. I know I'm on a mission. I don't need to talk about the mission. Right. I just, you know what I mean? A lot of people always talk about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I just do things, and people are like, what, you did that? I'm all, yep, because I have my own vision. I don't need to explain my vision. Right. And I'm not knocking anybody that does or how they go about it, but I feel like having all those buckets filled the right way feeds this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm Jimmy at home, and I'm Jimmy on the mic. I'm Jimmy out holding the camera.
Jimmy on the mic. That sounds like a good show, dude.
I'm Jimmy at jiu-jitsu. I'm Jimmy coaching my kids. I'm Jimmy coaching at the jiu-jitsu gym. And I feel like having all those balance helps me excel in my content.
Nice. That's what keeps you going. That's good, man. Honestly, because my motivation comes from those kids, like you said, man. I know when I got divorced, I realized like I wasn't watering that plant. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, number one, try to water that plant as much as you can. Those kids are like the main thing that I got going on. And if I could do anything else after that, like, it's going to be the chef work. It's going to be the chef work. And this podcast is basically the fruits of all that. Yep. You know what I mean? So I hope people are listening and understanding that I'm just trying to help you find your passion, man. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Because that's what helped me in my life. Like, I was at a point where I wasn't happy and I didn't have anything, like, including money, and now I do have a little bit of some of all that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm working at a relationship with my kids, I'm working at being a better person in my daily life and stuff like that, and it all has to do with focusing and realizing, okay, I gotta be better, and what's that future self that I actually have a meditation for, and I see that person like happy. All right, I'm gonna work toward that every day. You know what I mean? And make little steps. It couldn't be, maybe I made a big step today or a small step, but as long as I'm making a step toward that, you know what I mean?
And that's the thing too, is like, I like how you said that too, because I have people tell me that, dude, you're great, you're doing all this, and I appreciate it, but I feel like I'm not trying to be an inspirational person by all means. I'm not saying, look at me, look what I'm doing. I just feel like me being myself, I could inspire you in some way.
Let me tell you my story.
If you get something from me saying this or saying that or doing this, you can relate to it to a certain point.
You're
like, all right, cool. I learned a little thing that I could take that with me.
I think a guy like me and you are not going to just say something to be like, oh, that's cool.
Yes.
That sounds cool.
Yes.
No,
and that's the thing too, is like we were going back to building those relationships, those meaningful conversations. Because I feel like after this, we're going to be like, fuck, that was shit. It was dope. And we feel like we just leveled up a little bit more.
Hell yeah, dude. 1000%, dude. Yeah, it's collaboration right here, dude. Seriously. So since we're going down the path, I'm talking about like entrepreneurship. Tell me your aspects about marketing.
I feel like you're your own brand. I feel like one of the biggest things, like I'm wearing my shirt and how I carry myself. When I'm going to jiu-jitsu, I'm wearing my stuff. I'm going to Sam's, I'm wearing my stuff. I feel like I'm the brand.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always make sure is that my name and my brand are like positive. I don't want to be at the bar wearing my shirt getting hammered.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to have that. I don't want to be at my kid's soccer game and I'm yelling, wearing my shirt and
talking
wearing like
smack.
You know what I mean? I just feel like my brand is me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's important to me. And I'm not doing it just to do it. I mean, by all means, if this leads to something that is greater than what I got going on, then I'm doing those right steps.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
To build the brand. You know what I mean? Like I wear my stuff and I, things like that. And I have other friends, shout out to my friend Hector, homie Hector. He has a Viva la Raza brand here from El Paso. And him, same thing, man. Going through COVID, just like, I want to do something. Bought himself a little machine, started doing his shirts. Now he has his own spot.
Hell yeah.
Where he's pumping out shirts and his own brand.
That's what's
shout
up.
out to VLR brand, man, in El Paso, bro.
Also, same dude. Same type of dude, man. He started his own brand. Before I was doing the chef work, I was in the Costco kitchen, and this guy's like, hey, man, you want to buy a shirt? I'm like, a shirt? He's like, yeah, it's my brand. Knox did it. I'm like,
I know him.
You know Daniel?
I do. We grew up in the same neighborhood.
That's
so when
hilarious.
you had him on, I was like, I know that.
So Daniel,
crazy.
this guy Daniel, man, he inspired me, man. He's
Hell
like,
yeah.
he's like, yeah, man, buy a shirt. I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah, let me buy a shirt.
Yeah.
Let me get a fucking tee. Let me get a fucking hat.
Yeah.
Let me get all that shit.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this guy's got it. And he actually helped me like a big time. I tell this story a lot, but basically, like, I was like, dude, how do you do it? Like, you just put yourself out there, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even care. And I'm like here at Costco, and I have a vision, but I can't meet it.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, just. You see something, don't hesitate and just do it. And so like this guy was walking up to the counter and he's like, hey man, I'm getting a wedding going. Do you know somebody that does food? And normally I'd be like, you know what I mean? But I was like, yeah, my name's Clay. I actually do food. You know what I mean? How many are in wedding? 30, and I've only done like 2 or 4 or 5 at the time. I'm like, 30, I got you, man. Listen, we'll put a menu together and give me a call, and I'd love to do something for you. Turned around, and I was like, fuck, what the fuck did I just do? Right? And Daniel's like, damn. But that's what I'm saying. So like, mad respect to somebody who does, shirts or whoever gets their brand or whoever gets their idea and just goes out there and fucking does it. You know what I mean? So for me, shout out Knox. Shout out Knox did it. He's a fucking inspirational dude. He's been key to my success. So,
and that's the thing too, and it's dope because I remember when we first talked last year, like being around you and talking. Shout out to Zach. We're giving all these.
Oh, that's right. That's what linked us up. Zach linked us up.
I posted, and going back to what you were saying, when I was trying to get out of the whole gaming space of talking to people, I was like, hey, I'm looking for potential guests. Anybody know?
Yeah.
And shout out to Zach, tagged you. And I just checked you out, and you hit me up, and I'm like, oh shit, you're starting a podcast too. Dude, it's weird the way the universe works.
Yeah, honestly.
Because like you being around and you were working with Vic at the time, I was like, God, that's so inspiring.
Yeah,
like just getting to know people in the right type of way.
Yeah.
Like organically.
Yeah, organically.
Like, you can get inspiration from anybody.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Just little conversations and knowing little relationships.
Like you don't need to make friction and like, I gotta do this. It's just like it's there. So like go down that path. You know what I mean? Figure out what you can learn, and like, go. Like the relationships I build, seriously, like knowing you and different people that have come on the podcast, it's just changed my view, my worldview. I don't need friends per se. It's like I know people and people know me, and then they respect who I am and what my vision is. So let's just keep going. You know what I mean? Like it's a good way to stay present. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you get stuck in isolation and you're like, I'm not worth anything. But it's like, why do you even say something like that to yourself? You know what I mean? Like there's people who know you who you really are, and just keep being the true self that you are. And then it comes back to you, man. That organic feels, you know what I mean? Like moving in a different positive direction and stuff like that. So the other aspect of it, so these two go hand in hand. We talk about marketing, but what about networking?
I feel like I don't, and here's the thing, and then this is my perspective and my personal, like a lot of people like, you got to go do this and network. You got to network. For me, I feel when somebody's trying to network to get something out of the position, and for some reason that it might make sense for them, but for me, I'm just genuinely building relationships and connections. And if it's called networking, if you want to call it that way, then I guess I am. But I don't go to things ahead of time thinking I'm gonna go here to network. I'm gonna go here to network. I'm gonna go to this event and I'm gonna talk to a bunch of fighters and maybe I can have them on my podcast. I don't think that way.
I think that
and a lot of people get caught up in the whole networking thing because that's how it is, right?
True. Yeah. Well, for instance, like when I first like got out there and I have a business. Like, how do I get better? Well, let me go to these entrepreneur conventions, right? And it's like, you'll network and get to know people, right? First of all, like I told you, I'm kind of a hermit when it comes to getting like talking to people and getting to know, unless it's a chef thing. You know what I mean? Like I like to do things more organic. When I'm sitting there at an entrepreneur convention, like everybody's like, hey, how you doing? I do this, I do that. I'm not inclined to be like that. You know what I mean? That's not my type of networking. So the way I like to network is to tell somebody like, hey man, I like what you do, man. Like chefs and stuff like that, I really respect what you do. Like, you know, how do you do it? You know what I mean? And just like start a conversation. That's not networking my business, not me trying to make more sales. I want to get better. And like me saying I love what you do, maybe he starts a relationship. Hey, you know what, Chef Clay, he's a personal chef, maybe he can do something for you. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what happens, you know. But networking to me is just reaching out, saying I respect what you do. Like, I don't know if you know me, my name's Clayton and I'm a chef. You know what I mean? That's part of what networking, and I do think it's important though, for business, for sure, or even a brand.
Well, that's the thing. It goes back to I'm just learning. You know, I don't have, I mean, I have a brand, I'm carrying myself and I'm doing all this stuff, but I don't have a legitimate business making money and like getting those
I don't think you're giving yourself credit, dude.
No, but that's the thing, but that's the thing too, I'm more honest. And like, I don't look at it that way, and maybe
you don't
I
need
should.
to, for sure.
But there's some ways that I could, and I love having these conversations because maybe I'm downplaying the fact that I should be doing this or
I don't think you're downplaying it per se, but I think you're actually just not giving yourself enough credit. Because like I actually look up to you, like the merch thing that you do, like you maybe.
And I design all my shit too.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I design all my shit.
And you could sell 1 or 1,000, but you put yourself out there and you're like, this is one box I'm gonna check off. I'm gonna check this box off, and I'm gonna keep moving forward. And it's like, damn, dude. And that's that. So you inspired me to actually like put my logo on a sweater, and I got it, and I'm like wearing it. And you wouldn't I was amazed, but people were like, I want to buy that shirt. I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, it's so crazy. Like, it was one time, a small story.
I would wear that.
I sold shirts like when I first did my first merch drop years ago. And there was only like 20 people that bought that one shirt. It's one design. I never did that design again. And I was at a bar and some guy at the bar is wearing it and I didn't know who the fuck it was. I was like, I know everybody who bought it. Like, what the fuck? It was crazy to see that, you know what I mean? But it was one of my boys that just happened to be in town. But it was crazy to see it. And I shout out all my homies that wear my hats and the shirts. It's cool, you know what I mean? It just like, I'm not trying to make a living off the branding, but it's kind of like, hey man, look, check out my homie. You know what I mean? And that's all it is too. It's kind of like, I use it more as a billboard than it as to make money.
True. But the thing is also, like, when I thought about it too, like, I should be giving it like free gift. That should be a gift that I give to my guests or something like that. But then I was like thinking also, number one, as I wore the sweater, people were like, oh, even my like family were like, oh, I'd wear that. I'm like, so if I bought it for a certain amount and I sold it just for a little bit more, like that can go toward my podcast, like the cost. And I'm like, they're not buying it to help me. They're buying it because they want to wear it and support me.
Correct.
And it's like, gosh, I got to change my view of this whole thing. You know what I mean? So that was an inspiration in itself, dude. So there's different ways of marketing. There's different ways of networking. But as long as you try to figure out your way of networking and your way of marketing, your own brand, your own product, and that's just moving forward. That's just the way of moving forward.
Because we're always learning.
Yeah, big time, dude. Big time. Learning. I'm telling you. And people like you, as you meet people, you're learning from other people. You know what I mean? Like, for sure. So, JDG, is there any big plans for the future? Any big ideas you got going on?
I mean,
on the horizons?
I mean, I don't ever talk about, I have projects lined up. I'm not going to say what I'm doing, but I feel like as I keep getting more confident, more just adding more tools to my toolbox. Some people look at me like, what the like there was a photographer that, you know, I was covering the fights, I was doing this, I was doing that, and that guy's like, God damn, you're all over the place. And I'm just like getting tools to get better. So I don't even realize like how I could be, or I just don't look at that way. I'm just like, I'm always like, what can I do to get better? What can I do? So just being at these events and having the opportunity to cover them, and, you know, maybe just hosting or just being a personality to do interviews. Like, I'm willing to do anything in the creative space if it makes sense both ways.
Nice.
You know what I mean? By all means, like, I want to build my brand the right way.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel
Your
like,
way.
Yeah. And if I feel like if I put my name on something, it's something that I believe in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So any projects that people asked me to be on, I have projects coming down the line, nothing set in stone. These are verbal agreements, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go through.
Sure.
God willing, and if it makes sense, it makes sense. And I just feel like me just being me, I feel like I'm just going that way.
Sure.
100 miles an hour, 1 mile an hour.
Yeah.
It switches, but I'm going that way. That's all I know.
Nice, man.
You know?
I like that, dude.
That's
We
all
have
I
that in
know.
common. We have that in
Yeah,
common.
all I know is positive and going that way.
Yeah. So I think you might have inspired that kid too. I guess him seeing you do all those different things, right? He's like, damn, that's what it takes, or what?
Well, it just kind of because it was more like a respect.
Oh, okay.
You know, because
he knows what it. He knows.
He was a more of a hardcore photographer. So this fool had 3 cameras, lenses changing. But here I am recording, have mics. I have a second camera recording me as I'm working, so I could do my vlog. So when I do a vlog, everybody's like, you record yourself training, you record yourself, dude, you edit this, and I'm like trying to give different perspectives of how I could be creative and made my own way. So when people see it, like, they get into that space, how you do with the podcasting, like, I know what it takes, and we both know each other, but nobody else knows it. So you show respect, and you be like, damn. Dude, so it's cool, like, to get that love from, you know, other people that I just meet for the first time, and then moving forward, I'll see them at other events, and I get to talk to them and learn stuff. But I just want to be taken serious because I'm doing this because I see a future in it, and me carrying myself the way I am and doing my work, I hope people respect it and want me to be a part of their events. I want to come cover an event. I want to take pictures. I want to be doing, you know, interviews and videography, and then maybe have people on my podcast if it makes sense. Like, doing that kind of stuff is how I really enjoy doing it. And if I can make money doing that eventually, then hey, great. If not, I'm going to keep doing it anyways.
Nice, dude. And that's the thing, like, that's another thing we have in common is that our sense of being humble, honestly, because I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit in this one too, because just recently I learned a different aspect. Shout out Chef Anthony. He gave me he's a tenured dude in the kitchen, man. He knows his stuff. But he reached out to me and he said, hey, what is it that you do? You know, he was really intrigued about being a personal chef. And so he's kind of like my intern right now. He's following me 1 day a week and stuff like that. And I just do my thing, you know what I mean? I make 4 meals in 3 hours, and I'm showing him how I do it. And he's like, damn, I can't keep up with you. I'm like, just do what you do, right? And then learn from me, ask 1,000 billion questions.
And do it your own way.
Yeah, and then figure it out, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, I actually opened up his horizons. He really feels confident that he can do it himself, you know what I mean? So I think us working in our realm and doing what we do, and, you know, we don't do it to impress anybody, you know what I mean? We're just doing...
Not anymore. We ain't there anymore.
Nah, that's what I'm saying.
It's too hard to try to impress people.
But in the essence of it, like, if you were to look objectively, the things that we do, because we've been through it and we worked so hard to get to this point, it's inspirational to other people, man, and it really is. And like I said, shout out to Chef Anthony, because he helped me, you know what I mean? Because you get stuck in your own mode, you know, like I gotta wake up Monday, I gotta go to 3 houses, I gotta, you know, do this, I gotta write my recipes, I gotta send the recipes, I gotta, you know, and then you're not thinking about, like, damn, it takes a lot to be who we are, you know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. So I was able to take a step back and then, you know, give myself a little pat on the back and then move on, you know what I mean? Like, and then move on, because, like, I can do that for more people. I will 1000%. And if Chef Anthony goes on and he's the most successful, most popular, famous personal chef in the world, I love it, bro.
I want everybody to win.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
And it's weird to say that. I'm glad you say that, because a lot of people, you hold information sometimes, and that's cool. You know what I mean?
It's happened to me,
you know, I get it. You know what I mean? You don't want to share shit with me. You don't know who I am. You don't owe me nothing, and it's nothing personal, right? But when you start bouncing back and you genuinely want somebody to win, and then you could feel that,
for sure.
That's like I always I want everybody to win,
for sure, dude.
Whatever you want do in life within reason, you're not hurting yourself or hurting anybody.
Exactly.
And you know,
not stepping on nobody's toes.
I want you to win, bro. Whatever you got going on, I want you to win, and I'm not being like over hopeful or anything. I genuinely just wish the best for you.
1000%, dude. So just in that same sense, what's your advice to a podcaster or someone else trying to create their own brand?
You know, I just feel like, you know, figure out why you want to do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Everybody goes into something wanting to do something, right? And then just be honest with what you're trying to do. If you're going in making money, go in like realize what you have to do to make money. You know what I mean? Or if you're going to be more open and see how it goes.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I feel like the way I went was trial and error. Just how everybody think like this worked. Okay, didn't work. Do this. Okay, didn't work. Do this. Doesn't work. But I as I was failing more, I was more calculated with my moves.
You learn from
because one thing I see a lot of people do, and I'm not. This is just an observation. I'm really observer. People will just throw a million things on the wall. That worked. All right, we'll go with that. Not me. Me is kind of like I know what I want to do when it makes sense.
Sure.
I want to do a million things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it just doesn't make sense now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I have things like in my back pocket when it makes time, when it makes sense.
Same.
Boom.
Yeah,
you know what
same.
I mean? And that's how I was with the, I was, back to, Charlie at Empire MMA. I had the skill set to be in front of a camera and run a stream. I never thought I could do it for somebody else. The fact that opportunity came up and my skill set was there, it made sense to do it.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt like I was ready to make that move. I wanted to do that a long time ago, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I wasn't like pressuring myself to do it. So I feel like if you're honest with yourself and you work on yourself to get where you want to be, it's going to work out within reason. It might be as fast as you want or as big as you want. But if you're honest and realistic with yourself and whatever you're pursuing in life, whatever it is, you know what I mean? You want to be the best basketball player, you need to go show free throws before and after practice. You need to do all that. You want to get better at cooking, you need to learn your ingredients and learn all this, right? You want to start your podcast? All right, cool. What is your podcast going to be about? What's going to be your niche? What's going to make you different? Why are people going to want to talk to you? Why are people want to listen? You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that go in it because people say, I want to start a podcast. Go right ahead. Oh, that shit's hard because you're not doing it for the right reason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if I could just tail in on that and just say that to trust your intuition. Like everybody, there's frequencies with people, with things in the world. So if something's telling you no, then don't go down that direction. And if something's telling you yes, don't wait and make that move. You know what I mean? Because you'll either succeed or you'll fail, and you'll learn from it either way. You know what I'm saying? So great advice honestly, like for anybody that's going to be a future podcaster out there, or even like start your own brand. So this is a shirt from Knox Did It, but I'm going to start wearing Grind2Hard podcast.
When you did that jersey, man, that shit was dope.
Yeah, it was, honestly. But that's the thing. I had like frivolous cash that I was like, you know what I mean? I bought one for Vic. I embroidered a hat and stuff like that. But now I want to make more sensible moves. Not just,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
when it makes sense.
When it makes sense, right, exactly. I mean? Yeah. Honestly, that was a nice jersey, and I think I wear it too much. I was almost going to wear it today, but I was like, no, you know me.
I saw that shit. That shit's fire.
It really was, man. I thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I noticed it. See, I noticed shit like that.
Yeah,
bro.
seriously, man. Thank you.
I'm a nerd when it comes to all that, man. I notice people's cameras, the quality, the time and the effort they put into it. And you working here, with Nevermore, like the quality and the sound and what you guys are doing here is dope. And that's why I'm like pulling for you. When I'm listening, I'm at work, I have you guys in the background and I'm listening to stuff. And
thank you, Doug.
You know what I mean? By all means, I'm not listening to every word.
Sure, yeah, me neither, dude. I mean, neither.
But like I'm supporting, like, hey, I hear things and I'm like, that's dope. You know what I mean? And that's what I care because I could see the time and effort that it goes into it.
Yeah, there was an episode on Spotify and YouTube that I hadn't even like played yet, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I gotta like.
Well, you were in the moment, you lived it.
Yeah, that's what I think. But like, there's times that like even with like I said, I watched the Bro Monroe show like that I was on. I was like, that's a fucking good show, man. Yeah. Like I think I remember it all, but I don't, man.
No,
it's like the vibe was different, and I'm like, I gotta be like that.
I showed up with an energy drink, like, they're all cracking beers.
I was like
not even 20 minutes to give me a fucking beer.
Trust, I know,
that shit was perfect. Those guys were amazing.
So this is a good question for you because I'm sure you I told you beforehand, but I just want to see your insight on that line between confidence and cockiness.
Man, that's a lot of things because I've got that all my life as far as like, with me being a small guy, if you guys don't know, I am a small dude. I'm 5'3". I'm a small dude, but I always felt like I had a chip on my shoulder. I always had to prove, and that. So I always felt like I had to be good at hockey. I have to be good at this, have to be good at doing that. But after a while, just like me just being myself, a lot of people are like, Jimmy's cocky. And I would take that personal. I'm like, I'm just being myself.
Right.
And maybe in some aspects when I was a lot younger, maybe I was, or not maybe, I was for sure cocky. Like, man, y'all can't touch me on the face-offs. I'm quick as fuck. You ain't gonna catch. I'm scoring goals, you know what I mean? But after you get older, then you realize that I'm just like, maybe I was doing it the wrong way, but I was confident in myself. And maybe like the cockiness was like, overtaking it. But I didn't think of it that way. But as you get older, obviously you just old man me. I'm just like, I feel confident in every way I move. Sometimes people are not gonna like the way you move. That fool's cocky. This fool's doing all this. She's like recording. He's hanging out with these fighters and doing his little podcast. Like, they ain't doing shit. Like, I'm just confident in what I do. And if people think that I'm cocky, then I guess that's your take. I mean, I'm not going to defend myself on your opinion.
No, I don't need to. Yeah, exactly.
But if you feel like I'm being cocky, I guess I'm cocky. But I feel like I'm just being confident being myself.
Nice. So did you just to see? Can you define it though? Like, what's the actual line? Like, is there a way of saying like you're either confident or cocky?
I think like if you're Conor McGregor.
Nice.
That is cockiness.
That is cockiness. I mean? Good job. I mean? Yeah, for sure. You
know what I mean? You want to compare like a pendulum, like nice. Obviously, but I mean,
absolutely, yeah. Because
that line is so like, because a lot of people like you being confident in your field of work and like, man, this fool's putting all this shit together. That fool's cocky as shit. Like, no, I'm confident in my work.
Yeah, and plus you don't even know how many billions of things I'm thinking about right now. And I don't give a fuck. We call me confident.
Exactly.
Confident or cocky.
Yeah, because that line is it's gray in between, and maybe I might be cocky.
True.
Maybe I don't know, but it's not my intention to be cocky. I
think
guess.
We've had numerous guests that said that like you teeter between like you know what I mean as you're moving.
Because sometimes I want like, man, like sometimes I'll show up place, man, these guys can't fuck with me, but I don't think like, but I'm not projecting in my head, and I'll bring myself down, like, because sometimes like the whole pat on the back at the end of night, sometimes I'm like, damn, that was dope. Ain't nobody fucking with me. But I feel confident. I don't feel like I'm cocky. But that's just me for like.
You would never tell somebody, hey, look, I did yesterday, man.
Like I do that. I'm sure you get that like all the time. Like, you have a podcast? I'm like, I don't talk about it. If you come across it and things like that, great. You see my shirt and you ask. I'm not out here like, yeah, come check my shit out. You should follow me. Go do this. I'm not that type of person. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to get that attention. I feel like people want
trying to get attention. There
you know what I mean? That's not the way I move. And I'm not saying that's not a bad way to move, but that's just the way I move.
I think at this point, Conor McGregor is like a character, but that whole part where like somebody wins a fight and then he's already on Twitter like talking shit about him, that's cockiness. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody respects that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
That's a whole persona too.
It's what I'm saying. Like, it's a character. It's a character at this point.
That's too much energy. That's too much energy to be that way.
For sure. But that's cockiness for sure, man.
Yeah, because I could be like, look, I showed up to Nevermore Records. Look, I did this. I'm on this. Yeah. What's up? Like putting it all out there. Like.
No. And I think if you did do that, you would just be helping out us at what I mean, and doing like a collaboration effort, not like.
But that's more like look at me kind of thing.
Yeah, I bet you. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's a good example, honestly, because like as much as I loved Conor McGregor the fighter and how confident he was as I'm gonna win and I'm gonna bring the Irish or whatever he was saying, I was like, damn, this guy is fucking badass. Now I'm like, dude, you're too much, man. Yeah, like you're way too much, bro. I don't even know if you can still fight. That's a whole other subject that we can honestly, talk about. But when you talk about,
you're like, God damn, that guy was amazing, inspirational to being cocky to being just a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly, dude. What the fuck? Quite the transition.
I don't ever want to be a piece of shit.
Quite the transition. Right? Next, if I'm like that, please stop watching and forget.
Right?
That's not my thing, not at all. And thanks for Conor McGregor for acting like that, so I know not to be like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you get to see people and how they carry themselves. Like, as I gotten older, I'm just more observant of how people carry themselves. You know what I mean? If that's that kind of energy, then I don't want to be around it. You know what I mean? The other people will attract that kind of energy because that's the energy that they want. I don't. You know what I mean?
You know what? Recently, I've been around not cocky, but I would say like not even arrogant, I guess overconfident type of chefs. And I like to actually talk with them. I want to like not break them down per se, but like,
what makes you think this way? I'm curious.
In a way, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, and then this young cat, shout out Chef Brandon. He had us saying, you know what? People tell me I have this ego or I'm too cocky, and I'm like, you're 21, bro. You're a badass motherfucker. I don't think you'd be here without your ego. So I would say, don't worry about what other people say. Just keep going towards your vision of what you want to be and what you want to do. So to each their own, man. Honestly, like, you know, and don't judge people either. You know what I mean? Like, because he did come off a little bit like cocky the way he was talking to people, but when I got to know him, he's just a very, very passionate person, man. He's just a solely passionate person about food. He's 21 and he wants to get a Michelin star. Like, that's not even in my circle. As much as I know, as much as I've done, like, I don't know. Like it's
not. Well, like people are built different, and they, you know, they're striving for different things.
So I have all the respect in the world for this kid, man. Seriously. So the last question I have for you, brother: how do you pay it forward, man? Like all the blessings you've had, you know, your education, your beautiful kids, beautiful family. Like, how do you at the end of the day pay it forward?
I just feel like me just being myself and the way I carry myself just being kind, being helpful within reason for people. Like when people ask me about gaming or computers or podcasting or videos or cameras, and I just feel like I could, help them with that. I love coaching. You know what I mean? I coach anytime that there's a coach that there's not enough coaching for my kids' team. Like I'll do it because I want to do it. Sure. And I feel like if I could just, one of the when I started coaching at first at the Y, I was sitting there. I'm like, this guy's having such a hard time with the kids. I feel like I could do better. And I think I can add to this. You know what I mean? So I feel like me just being myself and being helpful in the right situation, not like, look at me, look what I'm doing. It's more like, if it makes sense for me to help and I can help and I can add value to what's going on, I feel like everybody wins.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's just like when I was helping coaching, I was like, hey, you need somebody to help stretch the kids and just get going? Hey, I can do that.
I can do that. Nice.
You know what I mean? Just you're busy over here checking IDs, making sure you're getting ready for the game. I'll get the kids. We stretch out. We warm up. Everybody's ready to go. I feel like me just being myself in like little aspects. Hey, look at that camera. Did you ever think of this? Use this software. Check out this. Hey, you know this program, this AI program, it's free. What? Really? I can make clips? Yeah. I just feel like me just spreading knowledge. Yeah. Is paying it forward, and not so much with money.
Giving people your time, man.
People time. I just feel like, like within reason, I'll help anybody out because I've been fortunate. How you're saying to people to help me out and point me in the right direction.
Sure, absolutely, man. Fucking Jimmy Dukes right here, man. Jaime Rodriguez, I guess.
Right? Yeah, it was crazy.
A.K.A.
Yeah, because it was always Jimmy Dukes, and after a while, I was like, you know what? I am Jaime Rodriguez. So I'm Jaime Jimmy Dukes. Right? I was like, I feel confident, like going back to building my brand. Like, I'm JDG, I'm Jimmy Dukes, but I'm also Jaime, and I'm not ashamed to say my name is Jaime Rodriguez. I'm not gonna have this persona where I'm just Jimmy Dukes everywhere. Nah, just like that's just part of me. You know
so guys, support this gentleman, man. Check out his YouTube. Check out his YouTube page. It's Jimmy Dukes Gaming, but it's got some podcasts, got some vlogs, got combat sports. Yeah, these are interviews and different things, different aspects of the combat sports and stuff like that. You'll really be entertained by the things that he has to put out there. Get out and vote as well, guys. Right now we're in approaching November. It's a freedom we need to exercise as Americans. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in and listening. Bless you all on your journey through this game called life.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate you all for watching, all right? Stay positive, stay motivated, and keep going. Seriously, it's going to get you where you're going. Peace out, y'all. Stay up.
Be confident, dog cocky. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dog.
Hell yeah, man. Good shit.
Fuck yeah.